The final Des Moines Register poll was just released before the Iowa Caucus. Let's dive into the numbers. So this poll from the Des Moines Register in Iowa is famous. It gives a good last look at the numbers ahead of the Iowa caucuses. So let's dive in. I want to start with the overarching numbers that everybody sees. This is where caucus goers on the Republican side are asked which one of the Republicans would be your first choice. This is the overall ranking. In this poll, we see Donald Trump at 48, Haley at 20, DeSantis at 16, and Ramaswamy at 8. Now I need to give you some warning. The numbers in this poll often vary from what we see on caucus night, and that's normal. A caucus is famously hard to predict. It's a unique situation where people go to local schools, gymnasiums. They give little speeches supporting candidates, and then they do a public vote. It's unique, it's different, and it's hard to poll. So what you're seeing right here doesn't explain the full situation. Let's dive into the poll so we can see more numbers and gain more understanding. Now here in the poll, we're to a section where we talk about caucus goers and how made up their minds are. So we see Trump, 82% of Trump supporters in this poll are saying that their mind is made up. When you compare that to DeSantis, he's at 64%, or Haley at 63%. This off the bat gives an advantage to Trump that his supporters likely aren't going to be swayed away from him. But this isn't the only number to watch. Another stat that we have to pay close attention to is enthusiasm. And here we see that Trump and DeSantis supporters are far more enthusiastic than Haley supporters. This is a big problem for Nikki Haley right here. Those who pick Haley as their first choice, only 9% say they are extremely enthusiastic. That is a very weak number for Haley. Now, when we go back to that first overall poll, Haley was in second after Trump. But as we dig into the numbers, you're seeing why I would actually expect DeSantis to beat Haley in the caucus. Here are my predictions right here. And I've made a whole video explaining them, but you can see that I rank DeSantis above Haley. And the main reason is because Haley voters seem to be less enthusiastic. She lacks the ground game. These factors really do matter. So even though Haley may have more just widespread support, right here we can see that her voters may not be as motivated to get to the caucus. Now the next section of the poll looks at how caucus goers identify themselves. Right here we can see that Trump and DeSantis almost completely align with the voter base, the share of Republicans to independents to Democrats. That's different from Haley. Haley is attracting moderates. Now a state like Iowa is very conservative, so that actually isn't a huge benefit for Nikki Haley. But when you go to a state like New Hampshire, which is after Iowa, attracting independents can be hugely beneficial. Now, all those numbers look awful for anyone who is not named Donald Trump. But there is a point of hope in this poll, especially for Ron DeSantis. Look at this. Among DeSantis supporters, 62% say they will definitely attend the caucus. That goes down to 56% for Trump and 51% for Haley. Right now, Iowa is struggling with frigid temperatures and massive snowstorms. If voters don't turn out, that may actually benefit Ron DeSantis, who has more dedicated supporters. This is actually a payoff of his ground game event strategy. Also, when we look at how the candidates have done over time, we see that Vivek has risen. It's a similar strategy to DeSantis. They really gain in a small state like Iowa. In this graph, we also can see Nikki Haley's slow but steady rise. Iowa could be the start for Nikki Haley. So that's a look at the final poll ahead of the Iowa caucuses. Make sure you're subscribed because after Iowa, we have New Hampshire and then South Carolina.